Oh my god, hey!
Hello.
Welcome back to my theatre-themed YouTube channel. If you're meeting us for the first time, my name is Mickey Jo.
And I'm Aaron James.
And we are both obsessed with all things theatre. And today we are going to be talking all things Tony Awards. Specifically, who do we think is going to be nominated for the 2023 Tony Awards? So this year, the Tony Award nominations are going to be announced on Tuesday the 2nd of May. If you have no idea what the Tony Awards are, then you are possibly in the wrong place. But they are an annual award celebrating the best of Broadway musical theatre. And this year, we have slightly more insight into this because we went to New York for the very first time and saw a bunch of Broadway shows, including many of the eligible shows from this season, but not all of them, because some had closed before our trip, and we didn't have time to see everything on Broadway, although we did a pretty good job. So we are going to be working together to come up with a list of who we think will be nominated and which shows we think will be nominated in each category. But there are some where we have a little bit more of a blind spot than others.
Yep.
We saw more musicals than plays, and for the most part, we have more of a perspective on the stuff that was still open in late March, which is when we went to New York.
Yeah.
I'm repping some merch from one of the season's revivals, and Aaron is repping one of the new musicals.
Yeah.
So as we're going through this, Aaron has some data that he's already prepared. He's going to be our man with statistics over here, because in the last few days, some other awards have announced their nominations.
The Outer Critics Circle, the Drama League, and the Drama Desk Awards.
Yes. So those can kind of act as a precursor to indicate what might get nominated at the Tonys, except for the fact that those three awarding bodies don't agree with each other, and historically don't always 100% predict the Tony nominations.
And also, all three had genderless categories for their performances, so there are extra spaces for the Tony noms.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe to my Stagey YouTube channel. Not only am I going to be reacting to the Tony nominations when they are announced on Tuesday the 2nd of May live here on my channel, but there will be so much more content. We will both be competing to guess the winners once the nominations have been announced, and there will be much more Tony's content between now and the actual ceremony in June. And if you want to be one of the first people to see that content, click on the link in the description of this video and sign up to become one of my channel members to gain early and exclusive video access. So before we get into any of the categories, I'm going to let you know which shows are actually eligible for the Tony Awards in 2023. So, our new musicals are Almost Famous, which has already closed, Bad Cinderella, which needs a Tony nomination very badly, but has yet to be nominated for any of those other awards. It has yet to receive any nominations. A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical, and Juliet, both jukebox shows. Kimberly Akimbo, K-pop, also closed early. New York, New York, which has only just opened days ago. Shucked, and Some Like It Hot. Those are all of the new musicals eligible this season. As a little side note, if you have been paying attention to the Drama Desks, the Drama League, the Outer Critics Circle, and you're wondering about the absence of Kimberly Akimbo, why is this, Aaron?
So, Kimberly Akimbo was off Broadway the year before, which meant that it was eligible for the Drama League, Drama Desk, and Outer Critics Circle the year before. This happens quite often.
So they are poised to do kind of like a sneak attack, basically, because you've had all of these other shows celebrating their nominations, and Kimberly Akimbo hasn't been recently receiving any nominations, but they are going to suddenly appear at the Tonys.
Yep.
In a big way, I do suspect. For the new plays, we have Ain't No Mo, Between Riverside and Crazy, A Christmas Carol, The Collaboration, Cost of Living, Fat Ham, Goodnight Oscar, The Kite Runner, Leopoldstadt, Life of Pi, Mike Birbiglia, The Old Man in the Pool, Peter Pan Goes Wrong, Pictures from Home, Prima Facie, Summer 1976, The Thanksgiving Play, and Walking with Ghosts. I think about less than half of those are still running on Broadway right now, and you have a decent handful of heavyweight UK transfers that won the Olivier Award for Best New Play. But we'll talk about that when we get to that category. The musical revivals. We have 1776, Bob Fosse's Dancin', Camelot, Into the Woods, Parade, and Sweeney Todd. And the play revivals, meanwhile, Death of a Salesman, A Doll's House, Ohio State Murders, The Piano Lesson, The Sign in Sidney Brewstein's Window, which opened hours ago on Broadway, literally on the last eligible day, and Top Dog / Underdog. So we are coming to you today, and we're filming this video this morning because the Tony Awards eligibility window officially closed 5 hours ago. So we are hot off the press with this one. So let's just start with Best New Musical. This will be the last award that is given out
Yep.
on the actual night of the Tony Awards, usually. But we're going to do it first. We've seen 4, 5, and 6 shows be nominated in this category. Which ones do we think it's going to be from this list here of the eligible? What do you think is the most obvious, first of all?
Kimberly Kimbo's the most obvious.
Yeah.
I actually think this is quite an easy category to predict. Because I think that SHUCKED has a really high chance.
Yeah, I think SHUCKED definitely as well. And then Some Like It Hot, absolutely going to make it into this category as well.
And then the 2 remaining spots I could see going to New York, New York, and A Beautiful Noise.
You think New York, New York, and A Beautiful Noise?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was ready to say New York, New York. I really thought it was going to be this 4 at least. Kimberly, SHUCKED, Some Like It Hot, and New York, New York. But those reviews were not kind to New York, New York. Do we think there's any chance we will end up seeing an And Juliet
Oh, yes,
rather
sorry.
than A Beautiful Noise?
New York, New York, A Beautiful Noise, and Juliet have all had the same noms.
Could we get 6 nominees?
We could.
It's a good year for new musicals. That wouldn't be including everything because Almost Famous, Bad Cinderella, K-pop would still be getting shut out of that category. Let's err on the side of positivity.
Yeah,
Let's
I
say
think it could be a 6.
6 nominees. But for the sake of it, which one do you think is more likely to get it out of A Beautiful Noise or And Juliet? Say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. And Juliet. There you go. Interesting. Okay, so this is our list of nominations for Best New Musical, and they're kind of written in the order that we're expecting to see them, I think, from top to bottom. So the elephant in the room is a whole British play invasion this year, where we have the last 3 Olivier Award-winning Best New Plays all on Broadway in the same season, in some sort of quirk of timing. We have Leopoldstadt, Prima Facie, and Life of Pi, all on Broadway, all running right now, all in contention for Best New Play Tonys.
And if we're saying a British invasion, there is also Peter Pan Goes Wrong.
There is also Peter Pan Goes Wrong. I shouldn't exclude that from the Best New Play narrative. But has Life of Pi been getting as many Best New Play nominations in the other categories?
No. It's probably been the least out of all of them, but the most in every other category.
This is kind of what I was suspecting with this show, is it's like a visual feast, creatively stunning, but in terms of what you're actually awarding for Best New Play, if you were to look at the script of Life of Pi, it's not quite as substantial as a Leopoldstadt or a Prima Facie.
I also think it would be hard not to talk about Fat Ham. If we're talking about award-winning plays, then Fat Ham is a Pulitzer Prize winner and is very American.
So we said 6 new musicals, and if anything, there are more new plays on Broadway this season.
Yeah.
So we'll pick 6 of those as well. So if we had to pick 2 more from this list, what is the next one that jumps out at you? I'm thinking Goodnight Oscar.
I'm leaning towards Ain't No Mo.
Are you leaning towards Ain't No Mo? Okay. This is our list so far. These are the nominations we're expecting to see for Best New Play. Let's talk about revivals of musicals. I feel like this is a pretty easy list to put together. You've definitely got the clear frontrunners. The question with this, as it always is exactly how many are they going to nominate? Because they could very easily fill a category, but we don't always see that happen. Sometimes we only see a couple of nominations for Best Revival of a Musical. I think we are definitely going to see Parade, and I think we're definitely going to see Sweeney Todd as well.
I will add Into the Woods to a definitely see.
Lots of Sondheim love, lots of Encores love.
Yep.
What do we think is going to get the 4th slot after those? It could be Camelot, it could be 1776, I nearly called it 1976 then, that's 200 years out. It could be Dancing.
So 1776, Dancing and Camelot all got the Drama League, but nothing else.
Oh, equally split. In terms of reviews, I feel like they all got a pretty mixed reception from the critics. So I'm going to go to what is still running and what is running well, which I think is Camelot. 1776 closed earlier on Broadway, but is already mid-national tour.
Yeah.
Whether that works in its favour, I don't know. I could see a world in which we only get these 4 nominations.
I could see a world in which we just get Parade, Sweeney and Into the Woods.
Oh, you think only 3?
Well, it's extremely rare for a revival to go to 5, but 3 is quite common.
Well, here is what we have so far. Those
Yeah.
top 3 are the ones we are more certain about seeing. Parade, Into the Woods, Sweeney Todd. And if there is a 4th nomination, we're expecting it to be Camelot at Lincoln Center. What about play revivals then? Which shows do we think are going to be nominated for Best Revival of a Play? This is one, like we said before, having seen none of these shows, where we really don't have as much insight. But there's not all that many eligible play revivals. There's only 6, in fact.
That's really interesting because I think they've all had nominations. I could definitely see The Piano Lesson, Death of a Salesman,
And A Doll's House.
and A Doll's House.
Yeah.
Well, I was also going to say And the Sign in Sidney Brewstein's Window.
That has literally just opened.
Although, Ohio State Murders, to say that it closed early, has been doing really well in nominations.
I've heard great things about Top Dog Underdog. People were very surprised to see that getting shut out of some of the recent nominations.
It's tricky. The Sign in Sidney Brewstein's Window has kind of come in with a clear, we have come in because we have a very strong feeling about the Tonys. Because there's no other reason I can think of why they'd come in right at the last
They timed
window.
their opening very, very well. Do we think the gamble will have paid off? I mean, Ohio State Murders closed a little bit earlier. Top Dog Underdog has lost a little bit of its momentum. I think The Sign in Sidney Brewstein's Window has timing on its side, so for that reason I'm tempted to write it down.
Yeah.
It's faint as anything, but we have, on this list, we have The Piano Lesson, we have A Doll's House, we have Death of a Salesman, and we have The Sign in Sidney Brewstein's Window.
Let's go with Best Director of a Musical.
Best Director of a Musical. This has been, this has been a stacked category. So, like most of the categories in the Tonys, we have seen 5 Best Director of a Musical nominees before, or 6 in some very eventful years. I would call this a very eventful year, so I think we could end up seeing 6 Best Directors. Let's see how we get on with this list. Who do you think is definitely going to get a nomination?
Jack O'Brien.
You think Jack O'Brien for Shucked? I think Casey Nicholaw, Some Like It Hot, will also definitely get nominated.
I think Susan Stroman will as well for New York, New York.
You think Susan Stroman will for New York, New York?
I think creatively, I think that New York, New York will still do well.
I do think Kimberly Akimbo is also 100% going to get a direction nomination.
Yeah, Jessica Stone she won the Outer Critics and she got nominated for the Drama Desk.
I mean, any of the revivals, that's what's missing from here. And I will be so devastated if Michael Arden continues to get snubbed this awards season. But has he been nominated anywhere yet for Best Direction of a Musical?
Outer Critics.
He got nominated for the Outer Critics, so they have taste. I really want to manifest a Michael Arden Best Direction nomination, but I also think Tommy Kail is absolutely going to get one for Sweeney.
I guess, do we think that one of the 2 director choreographers might miss it and Michael Arden goes in there?
I'm not convinced about Stroman. I'm going to go on record and say I am not convinced about Stroman.
Do we want to change that to Parade?
I'm willing to just add a 6th because it's such a strong year, but let it be known where my allegiances lie.
It's interesting that neither of us have mentioned Bartlett Share.
I forgot about Bartlett Share. I think I've actually convinced myself at this point that Susan Stroman is not going to get a nomination for direction for New York, New York. I think she will get choreography and not direction. Take her off? I'm going to take her off the list. This is I will be watching this one very closely on nomination day because, I mean, to have excluded Susan Stroman from our list is controversial, but that is how I'm thinking the cards may end up falling. We will see. We will see what happens. As always, there are always going to be snubs and surprises on Tony nomination day. Now let's talk about Best Director of a Play. So these, you might expect them to just follow what have been the most acclaimed plays. I really don't have as much insight into this category. Aeron, why don't you let us know how these nominations have been playing out at other awards for the past few days?
For Broadway shows that got a nom, it was Death of a Salesman, Peter Pan Goes Wrong, and Life of Pi.
I think Death of a Salesman will definitely make it.
I also think that Life of Pi will appear. It's another one of those where loads of elements together.
Yeah.
I feel like that will go in.
I think Leopoldstadt as well. We're going to see a lot of nominations for Leopoldstadt. It feels like a Tony baby.
My other two, I'd go with Fat Ham, and I'm going to go out there and say Peter Pan Goes Wrong.
I was wondering if Peter Pan Goes Wrong might get a director nomination. There's an awful lot of moving parts in managing something like a Peter Pan Goes Wrong. But I am going to, like we put 6 in musicals, I'm going to put a 6th in play here as well, and I'm going to say Prima Facie. This is who we have so far. I'm not as confident in this list. We've only got 1 revival up against 5 new plays, but then there does seem to be more weight in new play this year versus play revivals. Let's go to choreographer then. We've already been talking about some of them because 2 of this season's choreographers are director choreographers, which it's just exhausting to think about, honestly. Like, imagine doing both.
But then I guess in some ways it might be easier for them because then it's one vision.
So, which choreographers do we think will get a mention? Having snubbed her in director, I think Susan Stroman is, like, definitely going to make it on here for New York, New York.
I also think that Casey Nicola is a lock.
100%.
And then I think there's a choreographer that's a lock, but I can't tell you which show she's going to get it for because she's been nominated for both shows.
Gasp.
Because Jennifer Weber choreographed both & Juliet and K-pop. And she's been nominated by the Drama Desk for K-pop, but then for everywhere else for & Juliet.
I think it's going to go to & Juliet. She could be doubly nominated.
She could. So there's not actually any other choreographer really that's had a nomination anywhere else other than Kimberly Akimbo, but only for the Lortels, nowhere else.
I'm wondering if Hoggett will get one for Sweeney Todd.
I mean, I could also say who choreographed the ice skating for Kimberly Akimbo.
There is the ice skating thing, and I've just remembered all of the barrels in Shucked.
Yeah.
Oh, Shucked has to make it onto this list. Fine. So far we have New York, New York, Some Like It Hot, & Juliet, Sweeney Todd, Shucked. Do you think Kimberly Akimbo's ice skating is enough to put it over something like K-pop or A Beautiful Noise?
I kind of think it might be a 5 nom.
Then let's stick with this list that we have.
Yeah.
For best choreography of a musical, this is what we're going for. So who do we think is going to get a nomination for best score? I think Janita Sori, Kimberly Akimbo, and David Lindsay-Abaire, absolutely.
Shucked, I think, is a guarantee.
Shucked, also, yes.
Some Like It Hot.
Some Like It Hot.
New York, New York.
I think it might just be 4.
Do you think it'll just be 4?
I think it might just be 4 rather than give one to Angela Weber for Bad Cinderella.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is Bad Cinderella going to get any nominations at the Tony Awards this year? Or is it going to get literally...
I could see it just being the 4.
Didn't get Olivier Award nomination for its score. It only got 1 Olivier Award nomination for the show, which was for Victoria Hamilton Barrett's performance as the stepmother. So I might not be surprised. Orchestrations, meanwhile. Who do we think is going to get nominations for best orchestrations?
Shucked. Some Like It Hot.
Kimberly Akimbo.
But then could we see any of the revivals get them?
And you think & Juliet as well?
Yeah. Because I think that's, rather than score, it's the orchestrations that make it all work together.
Yeah. Oh my god, hey, it is I, the spirit of Bad Cinderella, aka editing Mickey Jo. And reviewing this, I feel like I got swept up in the idea that Bad Cinderella wasn't going to get any nominations, and I forgot to give them credit where it was due, because I think they could very possibly get a nomination for the show's orchestrations, which are legitimately very lush, very rich, and very good. So potentially we could also see a nomination for Bad Cinderella for best orchestrations. Is Sweeney Todd eligible for its orchestrations, or are they just retaining the original ones? I don't know. Perhaps someone can enlighten us in the comments. I think Shucked is definitely going to be up there.
I think Shucked, I think...
Kimberly Akimbo, obviously David Lindsay-Abaire's book.
& Juliet.
& Juliet, you think as well, yeah?
Some Like It Hot.
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't know if there's anything else I could see getting it.
New York, New York's book has been criticised a lot as being one of the weaker elements of the production.
And I don't see Bad Cinderella getting it.
I don't see Bad Cinderella's book getting it either. Whether A Beautiful Noise gets a book nomination, again, I don't know the show.
I could see it just being 4, if, in all honesty.
We could see it just being 4.
Yeah.
There we go. Those are the 4 that we have for best book of a musical. Lighting design for musicals. Who do we think we're going to see? I'm going to say Sweeney Todd right off the bat.
Yeah, Natasha Katz.
Yep. New York. Another obvious one
New
for me.
York. I could see Parade getting into that.
You think Parade will get a lighting nom?
Yeah.
Sure. I think Some Like It Hot.
And then I think either Akimbo or Shucked could get the last one.
I think Akimbo.
Only really the drama desks help as much with the creative categories.
Mm-hmm.
It was New York, Only Gold, Parade, Dancing, and Sweeney Todd.
We haven't got
Dancing
Dancing
has
on
the
this
LED.
list. Maybe we'll see Dancing over Kimberly Akimbo.
I might say we might see Dancing over Kimberly Akimbo.
Okay, taking Kimberly Akimbo off the list. You're going to have to believe me that says Dancing. Oh my gosh, this pen. So, we have Sweeney Todd, New York, Parade, Some Like It Hot, and Dancing for Best Lighting Design of a Musical. What about lighting design of a play? I mean, Life of Pi seems obvious here.
But it didn't get a drama desk nom.
That is shocking to me. I'm going to put it on here regardless.
Prima Facie, As High as State Murders, and The Piano Lesson, though, all got noms.
So I'm going to say Life of Pi. I'm going to say Prima Facie. Do you not think Death of a Salesman might get one as well?
I feel like The Piano Lesson has a higher chance.
Okay, Piano Lesson going on the list. I also, not to keep bringing it up, but I do think Leopoldstadt is going to just get a lot of Tony nominations. It feels like the kind of play that does.
Okay. I've just been surprised how little it's been seen everywhere.
I'm going to write it down, because this is a democracy, but I'm holding the pen. What else was nominated for the drama desks?
Ohio State Murders.
Ohio State Murders. Well, since it was at the drama desks, let's put it on the list. So this is our list for best lighting design of a play. I mean, we are shooting in the dark. Sound design, musicals. What do we think?
New York.
New York. Definitely, lots of instruments.
So Into the Woods, Shucked, Parade, and Almost Famous got the sound design noms for the drama desk.
Interesting. I don't think Almost Famous is going to get
No.
necessarily anything at the Tonys.
I could see Parade being on the list, though.
We have our 5 for best sound design of a musical. New York, Some Like It Hot, Kimberly Akimbo, Shucked, and Parade. Let's segue immediately into sound design of a play. So, again, I do think Life of Pi.
And again, it was not nominated by the drama desks.
I am at war with the drama desks
So,
today.
drama desks went for Ohio State Murders, A Doll's House, Fat Ham.
Oh, A Doll's House will absolutely make this
Yeah.
list.
I also can see Fat Ham making that list.
Yeah. Do you think Prima Facie? I do. I think
I
Prima
could see
Facie.
Prima Facie.
Because they use music in the show. Are we going to see Death of a Salesman? Are we going to see Leopoldstadt? Are we going to see Ohio State Murders? Do you want me to write Ohio State Murders because it was nominated for the drama desk?
It gives me more confidence. It's difficult because I've not seen many of these.
No, I mean, we have the data. We may as well follow it. So, best sound design of a play. We have Life of Pi, A Doll's House, Fat Ham, Prima Facie, and Ohio State Murders. It's always the question with these things in the creative categories is everything nominated on its own merit? Or is it the case that just the favourite play and the favourite musical get nominated in every single category,
Yeah.
regardless of if they actually had the best lighting or the most challenging lighting? Let's talk about set designs.
So I feel like we can instantly put New York down.
Oh, absolutely. New York set design. Definitely going to make the list, despite the fact that my pen does not want to write it. You are not on my side today. I'm swapping pens, everyone. This is not my pen. This is my bad pen.
I think we can put Sweeney Todd down as well.
Sweeney Todd was going to be my next one.
Kimberly Akimbo and
Kimberly,
Shucked.
Shucked, and Some Like It Hot. I think are going to
Yep.
be the next 3 out of that. It's easy enough to rule out the Encores transfers, Into the Woods and Parade, because they didn't really have as much of a set to speak of.
So I'm going to throw in one that might make you go, oh no.
You're going to throw something at me. What are you throwing at me?
Camelot.
You think you're going to say Camelot?
It was Camelot that got the drama desk nom.
Over.
It was Camelot, Shucked, Kimberly Akimbo, and New York for Broadway.
Over Sweeney Todd. And over Some Like It Hot.
Some Like It Hot is the one I'm not sure about. I don't think the set design has been spoken about much. I could kind of see Camelot going in over Some Like It Hot.
Okay, well, I've overruled enough of yours. I will let you do that. I'm not a huge fan of Some Like It Hot set. I just think that's going to be one of those where it just gets a bunch of creative nominations.
I can see that.
For being one of the more successful shows of the season. But I will I will put in Camelot.
I'd like to know when a Bartlett's Share revival has not got set design.
Yeah, that's very true. So we have for best scenic design of a musical: New York, New York, Sweeney Todd, Kimberly Akimbo, Camelot, and Shucked. Let's talk about scenic design for plays.
I have 2 locks.
What are your locks?
Peter Pan Goes Wrong.
Peter Pan Goes Wrong. Yes, that's a clever set. Does a lot of stuff.
And Life of Pi.
I have another one that I thought you were going to say that you didn't. I'm going to say Fat Ham.
Yes.
That's a great set.
I could also see Prima Facie come into here.
Let's chuck them both in. Fat Ham and Prima Facie. And I do think Leopoldstadt.
Yeah, I could see Leopoldstadt in this one.
Interestingly, we have, again, no revivals included here. But that's just the way that the Schmackery's cookie has crumbled on this occasion. Peter Pan Goes Wrong, Life of Pi, Fat Ham, Prima Facie, and Leopoldstadt, all nominated for Best Scenic Design of a Play. In our minds, that is. Let's talk about costume design of musicals. Oh, there's so many immediately coming to mind.
Should I say the trio that I think are locks?
What are your trio of locks?
New York, New York, Some Like It Hot, and Juliet.
I will also say Camelot.
Yep,
This is the one where I think it is going to get the design nod. I really like the costume design of Shucked.
Shucked got a drama desk nom.
Shucked got a drama desk nom. But then you've got Sweeney to consider as well.
And K-pop got a nom.
Who made Milky White? What category does that come under?
Well, they don't have puppetry.
They don't have puppetry. This is the list we have. Best costume design of a musical: New York, New York, Some Like It Hot, and Juliet, Camelot, and Sweeney Todd. Oh my god, hey, it's me again. I also think if there is one nomination that Bad Cinderella completely deserves, it is costume design. Like, say what you will about those costumes, whether they, like, serve the show and its narrative particularly well, but they look fantastic and they look expensive and they would win a runway challenge on RuPaul's Drag Race. And if that is not Tony Awards criteria, then I do not know what is. Let's talk about costume design in plays. Talking about puppetry, there's the Life of Pi of it all.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a consideration within costume design?
I'm not sure what the calling's been for this.
Let's go to the Drama Desk nominations. Who was nominated for Best Costume Design of a Play at the Drama Desks yesterday?
Only Ain't No Mo and Peter Pan Goes Wrong from Broadway got a nomination.
Well, let's put both of those down.
And I will add Fat Ham.
I'm more convinced about Fat Ham's set, but I'm willing to put them on the list.
I'm thinking about the surprise ending.
I know, but one costume does not a nomination make.
Is this another one where you could see Leopoldstadt appearing?
I could see Leopoldstadt. Again, I am apparently Team Leopoldstadt up in here. And I do wonder if Life of Pi
I was just
going to
say,
sneak
I
in
wonder if Life of Pi will be in there.
because of they're kind of wearable puppets. They're kind of like puppet clothes.
Well, not even just that, but like the Indian fabrics for the characters' costumes.
Yeah, there we go. So we have here Ain't No Mo, Peter Pan Goes Wrong, Fat Ham, Leopoldstadt, and Life of Pi. Best costume design of a play. So I believe we finished with all our creative categories and we're ready to talk about performances.
Yeah.
Good. So let's kick off with Best Leading Actress in a Musical.
I do musicals first.
I think leading actress in a musical, let's do it. Let's talk about it. So,
Kimberly Akimbo, Victoria Clark.
Absolutely going to happen.
I also think Michaela Diamond and Anna Uzelia probably both.
And I'd add Annalie Ashford to that as well. I think Sarah Bareilles is going to break into this category as well for Into the Woods. Sarah Bareilles, this is not her Broadway debut, but it is the first time that she can be
eligible as a performer.
Exactly what I was going to say. So we have so far Victoria Clark, Michaela Diamond, Anna Uzelia, Annalie Ashford, and Sarah Bareilles. And I do think this is an extraordinary enough year. I think if any category is going to get a 6th nomination, it's going to be leading actress in a musical.
Okay. I couldn't tell you who it was going to be, though.
It's a difficult one.
Breakthrough. Tina Miller's had a nom. Philippa Sue's had a nom. They both got Drama League nominations, but then Caroline Inabickler got an Outer Critics nom, and Lorna Courtney got a Drama League nom as well.
That's Caroline Inabickler from Shucked, Lorna Courtney from Anne Juliet, and Patina from Into the Woods, Philippa for Camelot. I think there will be a 6th, but I think it's going to be a fun surprise as to who it goes to. I could see it going to Caroline Inabickler. That's the surprise I'm anticipating being surprised by. That now won't be a surprise because I've written it down on a whiteboard. I enjoy her very much in Shucked, but I cannot spell Inabicla. 2 N's? CH? What are we talking here?
Two N's.
INNER.
BICHLER.
BICH. See, there we go. I was right. There we go. There you go. And it's fine because you can't read it anyway. What are these pens? We are expecting to see Victoria Clark, Michaela Diamond, Anna Uzeli, Annalie Ashford, Sarah Bareilles, and Caroline Inabicla.
So shall we do leading actor in a musical?
Let's do leading actor in a musical. Let's talk about it. I am going to start this one off because
Yep.
I have strong feelings. It's definitely not as strong a year for leading actors compared with
Yep.
leading actresses, and we've seen that in some of these nominations in non-gendered categories this week. But I think Josh Groban, I think Ben Platt, even though he has been snubbed a couple times this week, is going to be Tony nominated, and I think Colton Ryan is as well.
But I think that the leading, definite, 100% lock is J. Harrison G.
Yes, J. Harrison G, who is non-binary but has elected to be nominated in the Best Leading Actor in a Musical category. I think J. Harrison G is the lock. I think Will Swenson is going to make it on there.
Yeah, I can
for
see
A
that.
Beautiful Noise. And it's then, again, do we see a sixth? Do we see one of the two Andrews?
I feel like if we see one of the Andrews, it's probably most likely to be Andrew Burnap for Camelot.
Let's throw him on there as well. Andrew Burnap for Camelot. So we have J. Harrison G for Some Like It Hot, Josh Groban for Sweeney Todd, Ben Platt for Parade, Colton Ryan for New York, New York, Will Swenson for A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical, and Andrew Burnap for Camelot. Let's go now to plays. Leading actress in a play.
So I think you can instantly write down Audra McDonald and
I was going to
Jodie
instantly
Comer.
write down Audra McDonald. I think in every category, almost.
Yeah.
If there's a Tony Predictions year and you're not writing down Audra McDonald, even when she hasn't been on Broadway, then you're doing something wrong. Because when Tony nominations come out, Audra McDonald's name is just often said. It's just one of the realities of life. I'm abandoning the whiteboard, everyone. It's failed me. Damn stationery. So Audra McDonald, we think, definitely.
Jodie Comer
Jodie Comer. Sharon D. Clark
is in featured.
is going to be nominated in featured, so we'll revisit that. Who else are we expecting to see in leaded? Oh, Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain.
Laura Linney.
We think Laura Linney. I could see Laura Linney.
Do you
Rachel
think...
Brosnahan
Oh, yes.
for Sign of Sidney Bringsteen's
Yes.
Window. We think Rachel Brosnahan. Meanwhile, Best Leading Actor in a Play. Wendell Pierce for Death of a Salesman, Hiran for Life of Pi.
Potentially we could see Samuel L. Jackson for...
I mean, he's not been getting the nominations.
No.
Is there a lead actor in Leopoldstadt that has been getting nominated, or has it
No,
been
it's
supporting?
just been one supporting.
Okay.
Sean Hayes.
Oh, Sean Hayes, absolutely. Oscar Isaac?
I think Oscar Isaac could get in there as well.
Okay, that's 4.
Outer Critics nominated Corey Hawkins for Top Dog Underdog.
And I've seen a lot of buzz about that, so I could see Corey Hawkins being added to this list, but potentially also Marcel Spears from Fat Ham,
Yeah.
as you've said. Interesting mix. So then we go to featured performances in a musical. Featured actress in a musical, which is my favourite awards category of any show ever.
Bunny Milligan.
We think Bonnie Milligan for Kimberly Akimbo.
I didn't think about this for ages until you've been really strong on it, is Julia Lester for Into the Woods.
Yeah, I said this before the nominations started coming out last week. Julia Lester as Little Red Riding Hood in Into the Woods. There was tremendous buzz when that show was on Broadway, and I think she is the one supporting nomination from Into the Woods I think we're most likely to see. She's now picked up a couple of nominations in the past week.
I also think Betsy Wolfe. It's probably quite likely
Betsy Wolfe for Anne Juliet.
Juliet.
Yes, she has the showiest, most awards-worthy role. We are also thinking Robin Herder for A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical. She has been Tony nominated before, and hers is the performance I'm hearing the most about from this show, although this is not a show that we saw while we were on Broadway. And I do think Ali Morsey.
Oh, I thought you were about to say, and I do think Ruthie Ann Miles.
Oh, I'd forgotten about Ruthie Ann Miles. Oh, that makes it very challenging. I think Ali Morsey would get it over Ruthie Ann Miles.
Yeah,
but whether
I
Ruthie
agree.
Ann Miles would get it over Robin Herder, I don't know.
It's difficult because neither Ruthie or Ali have appeared anywhere else.
They haven't been nominated elsewhere so far. I'm hoping to see Ali Morsey
Morsey.
nominated.
Yeah, me
I think
too.
both of them could be for Kimberly. It was only Bonnie who was getting the nominations this time last year for their off-Broadway run, but maybe Ali's got a little bit more buzz this time around for Broadway. Oh my god, hey, it's me, the spirit of Bad Cinderella, back again to make one more amendment because Carolee Carmello could very possibly get a nomination for Best Featured Actress in a Musical, not only because Victoria Hamilton Barrett was the only nomination in the equivalent category that the show got in London at the Olivier Awards, but also because Carolee has been mentioned by a bunch of the reviews, and I would love that for her because, you know, she's been in 1776 and Bad Cinderella this season. It would be great for her to get some kind of awards recognition, but we'll see what happens. Moving on to featured actor in a musical now, and this is a really interesting one because in these non-gendered categories, including Broadway and off-Broadway in the past week, there haven't been many Broadway featured actors in musicals included. Apart from one who we have seen consistently. So Alex Newell from SHUCKED, a gender non-conforming performer, has elected to be nominated in the Best Supporting Actor in a Musical category, which is a big move. That's a big move. So Alex Newell, 100%, definitely going to get a nomination 100%. In this category.
And also, I think Justin Cooley is very likely
Justin
to get
Cooley is going
well.
to be the competition from Kimberly Akimbo. Do we think Stephen Boyer will also? Not as necessarily certain as Justin Cooley.
I think the percentage of him getting one is probably as high as Ali Morsey getting one. Though I do think that Kevin Delaguilla from Some Like It Hot is very likely to get one.
Yeah, I think so. So we have Justin, we have Kevin, we have Alex. I think Gayton's going to get one for Sweeney Todd. He has not been nominated elsewhere so far this week.
I keep wondering whether Kevin Cahoon's going to surprise and be in there.
He
so
could.
It'd be 2 for Shocked because he just got a drama desk now.
He could. Or we could see Gavin Creel for Into the Woods. And we haven't said any of the men from Parade. I think there's some tremendous male supporting performances in Parade. But I don't know, because again, they have not been getting the nominations this past week.
And a nomination that I've not seen for anybody that could surprise is a dancer nom.
Oh, yes.
For one of the featured dancers.
Oh, yes. That's a very good point. What about our featured performers in plays then? What about featured actresses in a play? Is there anyone that jumps out at you straight away?
Sharon D. Clarke.
Oh, Sharon D. Clarke, Death of a Salesman. Absolutely.
And Danielle Brooks.
Danielle Brooks,
for
the piano lesson. Sure, yes, done. So at the drama desks, Emily Bergel for Goodnight Oscar and Miriam Silverman for The Sign in Sidney Brewstein's Window were both nominated. Yeah. You're going to say Fat Ham, aren't you?
Yes, but that wasn't who I was going to say.
Oh, okay. Who were you going to say?
I was going to say I would have absolutely loved if Nancy Zammit got a nom.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like with Peter Pan Goes Wrong, she gives the standout performance.
Yeah. You had said before that you thought Nikki Crawford from Fat Ham might get one.
She gives a standout performance in
She's great.
Fat
I mean,
Ham.
there's a couple of them in Fat Ham
that
are real scene stealers. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Fat Ham supporting acting nomination. And we have arrived at our last category, Best Featured Actor in a Play. So there's a couple that have been getting consistent nominations. Brandon Uranowitz for Leopoldstadt. We have been seeing a lot. Also, Ariane Moayed from A Doll's House has been getting a lot of consistent nominations. I'm wondering again if we'd see somebody from Fat Ham, but there's a few different people in Fat Ham that could take that Best Supporting Actor nomination.
Actually, it's interesting. So for the Outer Critics, it was Michael Potts that got a nomination for The Piano Lesson, but then for the drama desks, it was then Ray Fisher for The Piano Lesson.
That is interesting. I don't know that I have a tremendous amount more insight into any of the other plays and their supporting actors, but I will be very intrigued.
Do you think that Neil Patrick Harris could drop in?
I'd be disappointed if he did, only because it feels like a bit of a slap in the face.
Yeah.
To the cast member that he replaced, to Harry Kershaw. I don't know, and it would feel like he was getting on just because he was Neil Patrick Harris and not because that show is worthy of being nominated against these heavyweight plays, which I think it is. Yeah. Maybe we'll see one of the other guys from that show getting a nomination, though. Maybe Henry Lewis, potentially. I don't know. Always hard to work out who they think the standout emerging performer is in a comedy.
Especially when they're such a company, like...
Yeah, that's why in Fat Ham and Peter Pan Goes Wrong, I wouldn't be surprised if we see one of them, but I couldn't tell you who it was going to be.
Yeah.
In any case, those have been our thoughts on the 2023 Tony Award nominations, and those have been our predictions. Make sure you tune in on Tuesday when live on my channel there will be reaction to the actual Tony Awards announcement. I'm so excited. I'm more excited this year than I have ever been for the Tony Awards, and I'm always quite excited. So make sure you're there. Make sure you're subscribed so you do not miss it. Thank you so much for joining us for our Tony predictions. We hope that you have enjoyed this video, and we hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day. For 10 more seconds, I'm MickeyJoTheatre. Oh my god, hey, thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!